Yeah, so welcome friends on this Good Friday, where we really have an opportunity to look at our own suffering, right? The pain of being a human being and the suffering of the world, to feel into what it is that our brother and our sister are experiencing, to give us a sense of compassion and know that we're all connected, that we all do suffer, that we, as we move towards the Easter joy, that it is a process that we have to undertake. And so, yeah, I invite you now to let yourself be vulnerable, to let yourself feel into these not so beautiful tasks, and to face death, right? That we used to really see death as the little brother or the big brother of sleep, right? So we found a real respite there. And now it seems like we have so much fear of death that we can't even live. So that's probably not so good either, right? And Good Friday to me is really all about putting death in its place, not being afraid of it, seeing it as a cycle, part of the cycle of life, and knowing that we are eternal. And so, yeah, welcome to this adventure in human initiation on this beautiful day. And I want to invite our dear friend, Marianne Fieber, who's holding court at the Wakanda Waldorf School. And she has been blessing us with the rhythms of the Foundation Stone meditation almost every day. And so let us hear the Friday rhythm.
Thank you. Thank you, Hazel. And it's interesting you say, this fear of death and we can think about that. And in this rhythm, Steiner offers some practices, right, to help us face some of those fears and those concerns if we but take them up. So this is the Friday rhythm. Practice spirit recalling. For the Father Spirit of the heights holds sway in depths of worlds, begetting life. Practice spirit sensing. For the Christ will encircling us hold sway in world rhythms, bestowing grace upon souls. Practice spirit beholding. For the Spirit's world thoughts hold sway in cosmic being, imploring light.
Yes, may we implore light, knowing that it is always there for us when we need it. Thank you, Marianne. Beautifully read. So I'm feeling it reverberating in the ethers and so appreciative. And now I want to invite our friend Sally Greenberg, who actually worked with Anne and I when we put together a little program working with the Spirit of America. And that was such a beautiful experience that I reached out to these two friends to be with us on this Holy Week. And so, Sally, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I have been so enjoying spending this week with you and meeting all of you in the breakout rooms. And even though we work, we're all in our places by ourselves or not with each other in person, I feel your warmth and it stays with me through the week. And I just have to say, I really, really love Anthroposophists. You guys are the most amazing people, and I'm so glad that we get to gather like this together. I want to ask you to participate this morning with a drawing exercise. And if you would get a piece of paper and a pen or colors, whatever you have available, that would be super to participate. And I'm going to ask you to draw a circle in the middle of your paper. So we're making a mandala. And my teacher, Mr. James, calls a mandala an essence container or a meaning maker. Or you could think of it as a seed or a time capsule. So while I'm talking, you can draw and put in this mandala something that you love. And I want to put it like this, something that you love so much that you would join your karma to it, like Christ did to the earth, and like our teacher Rudolf Steiner did to anthroposophy. So this is something very important to you, and you can draw it in any way that you want. It could be, this is my guardian angel, or you could draw words. This is the virtues. I did this a while ago, and I sometimes carry these around with me in the day. So you don't have to finish it today or share it if you don't want to, but I just want to invite you to do that while we visit right memory of the Eightfold Path and Good Friday. And I want to start, and Hazel, you could put the pictures of the farm, or the pictures up. I want to start by talking about a farm I visited last week. I have the good fortune of being close to a biodynamic farm. Thank you, Hazel. And my good friend Gloria Decatur, who's on every Zoom call you're on, you'll see her name. She has been tending the land on this beautiful farm in a biodynamic manner. And I finally went out to visit her. And her husband, Stephen, was tilling the soil with the horses. They don't use machines there. And they told me they were getting the soil ready for Good Friday, because on Good Friday, it's a tradition to plant potatoes. And so I wanted to bring this image of the farmer with the idea of not only Good Friday, but right memory, because the farm is such a important place to use right memory. The farmers have to look back and see how a crop did. And even if it did well, they look back to see what they did to help it. But if a crop fails, they look back before the planting to the soil and what was going on in the soil before they planted the seeds, to know what to do differently the next time so that they have a more beautiful crop. And we know Friday is Venus Day for beauty. So right memory really helps us to create more beauty in the world. And so we might not have a farm like Gloria. And I have to say, the will forces that Gloria and Stephen implement to work in the earth like this are just so admirable. But we could do biography work in our own lives. We can do a daily review nightly, which is such a powerful practice. And we can look at everything in retrospect to digest it so that we can create inner enrichment for ourselves. And Rudolf Steiner says we can learn from everything, even a child. So looking back to Good Friday, not just all the years of planting potatoes, but back to the time when it was named, when Jesus Christ walked the earth. From a materialist viewpoint, it was not a Good Friday. It was quite a sensory overload day. And Jesus was woken up early and dragged through the streets unkindly. He was sentenced to death by crucifixion and forced to wear a crown of thorns, to bear a huge cross that he was later to be nailed on to place of the skulls, the hill on Golgotha. And then nails were driven through his hands and feet, and he was left there to die. And it's such a, if you think about anyone you love and losing them in such a way, it's a sensory overload. It makes me really call on that, the verse that we have from Rudolf Steiner, the verse for our times, to eradicate from the soul fear and terror, because it must have been really overwhelming. And Jesus, as we know, was calm and composed during those events. So if we look beyond the material, a different picture is revealed. And I feel very strongly that the practices Rudolf Steiner has left us, this eightfold path, the 6 basic exercises, and all the other things we do every day, help us to look beyond the material and to see this different picture. And the different picture is actually that this crucifixion was a birth. It was the birth of Christ in the etheric body of the earth. So Christ was waging a battle in the spiritual realm with Lucifer and Ahriman, whose tyranny he will deliver mankind. The Ahrimanic forces of death uses the earth to mock man. During earthly life, it binds him to the world of matter and makes all sorts of promises of earthly fulfillment, which are no longer kept after death. However, death can strip nothing from the sovereignty of Christ's spirit, from his authority over all earth existence. And that's from Emil Bach's book, The 3 Years. So Christ's last words on the cross were, "It is finished." He completed his conquest over death. And it's said that his body on the cross radiated light when the spiritual being of Christ penetrated the body all the way to the bones, spiritualizing matter. And there's symbols of the gilded Christ on the cross that can be found throughout Europe. And when Christ's blood flowed into the earth, the first communion took place. The earth received the being of the Christ into her. Instead of the soul leaving earth and the blood going back into the earth, Christ went into the etheric of the earth with the blood, a seed of light. And it's said that the earth's aura was changed after that. And there was an eclipse and a little earthquake. And I would love also to hear any of your knowledge of these events later. But I want to read something from this book here quickly. And it's in regards to the calendar of the soul. Because the calendar, I'm just going to see if I can make that better. The calendar of the soul is on the 52nd week right now. And so we'll start next week anew. And it's a wonderful practice to connect with the etheric. And I'll just read this. People will have to develop from the sense perceptible physical to the extrasensory etheric. But for this, they must absorb the forces of life into themselves in order to be able to overcome those of death. This will only be possible through the intimate turning of each individual towards Christ, the spirit of life, on the basis of spiritual science. In this, we are assisted in the 52 weekly verses of the anthroposophical calendar, because through them, we can experience in our souls, in harmony with the changing nature moods in the course of the year, how Christ leads us on our incarnation cycle through the many dwellings in the house of his and our Father, and endows us with all those forces that we need on our further path of development. Solely under his guidance, we can reach the goal of human evolution and transform the earth into a cosmos of love, which is to resurrect one day as a new cosmic existence and flourish in new splendor that will only succeed if we get closer and closer to Christ in each of our earthly lives and inwardly unite with him more and more closely, so that his life may live up within us in keeping with Paul's words, "Now no longer do I live, but Christ lives in me." We should commemorate this fact throughout the year, but especially at every Easter time. So that is the picture that I would love for us to talk about, or we can talk about your picture and what you love and what you want to bring into the world, or grow within yourself with these spiritual pictures.
Great. Overcoming the forces of death. I think we're doing this minute. Sally said something about she has realized that she loves anthroposophists. I have too. And I think that through this means that we've been doing together, we feel a relationship with people that we haven't met. Something is coming through the forces of death of electricity, Ariman creating the internet, whatever. We are creating and doing something now that overcomes this physical reality. We've gone beyond it. And Sally's mentioning it this morning just made me feel it all the more strongly.
Beautiful. I love how you're tying it into this medium, which it is very much dead electricity.
Yes, and offering so many challenges, but that's okay.
Yeah. Because we're working together and we're naming it, and we're not trying to run away,
Right.
So yeah. Who else has something to share?
Sure. It's I was born on Sundays, so sun is my guiding planet, and I've been thinking about the meditation, of course. When I think light, I become a star. The future evolution of Earth turning into a star, and the Christ is doing his transformation today on the next part of that. And I really share everybody's enthusiasm for our participation in this process. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Kate, for your thoughts.
Beautiful. Who else has a thought to share? Marianne.
Opportunity to host a coffee talk at my school with some of the parents, and we brought up the idea of regenerative communities, and one of the women in the group spoke about permaculture, and that even in a community, in a social community, we need to cultivate good soil into which then a regenerative community can be birthed, grown, but just, I was so impressed by that connection that came out of that conversation. And it just feels like it's resonating here too, that yes, there's the cultivation of the earth and those forces, but then if we look at our social world, how do we build good soil in the social realm? And it's a question, but it's meeting, it's inviting conversation, it's overcoming maybe this separation that we might feel in the technical. And I don't know, I feel like a buzz with the connection there. So thank you.
And I feel a connection with what you just said and the Eightfold Path, because it's such an amazing tool to work in community with, knowing that everybody's sovereign and taking care of their part.
Hazel, I'd like to share something if I could.
Please, thank you, Nicolette.
Hi, everybody. I want to share what we're doing here this this weekend that, has to do with overcoming death and the fear of death. And at this moment, a group is assembling. For 3 days, we're weaving caskets and urns and immersing into the whole realm of death. And we're gathering around a family, a mom and dad and a younger and older sister who lost their son last year, 9 years old. And she has shared her story, and they found anthroposophy before this event. And her story basically is that it's the most beautiful thing that ever happened to them. And without, quoting Steiner or informing people of what they should know, they just shine light and warmth and love and this reality of the threshold and the beyond of how they still are connected with their son. And it has become the seed for us starting. Basically, this is a ritual so that we will have a place in the community where we can do the 3-day vigils and beyond. And I'm thinking sort of reverse ritual, Hazel, like you. Most communities, we would build a congregation and get a priest and build a church. And then eventually I saw this in Stuttgart where they had the place for the vigils in the church. And I realized we're doing it the other way around. And we're just starting with the place. We're starting with death and letting the rest come together. And just Adam Biddleston's words for Friday, not the whole verse, but let us remember the servants of Christ who kept in their hearts his will for the world. Beneath the cross, the beloved disciple, winning from pain, eternal patience, beholding in darkness the new beginning.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Right. Those 2 gates of birth and death and all
Yeah.
of that stuff in between. Yeah. So anyone else care to share?
Yes, I would say something.
Great.
Go ahead, Margaret.
I think Jeffrey was going to speak.
Yes, I'm just finding something.
All right, then go ahead, Margaret.
Go ahead, I'll say after.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just had yesterday quite a lovely conversation with a friend who is also here on the Zoom, Linda. And I'm still with that conversation because what I find and again, and that's why I love the anthroposophists and anthroposophia, is that we have come to a place of greater courage. Somehow the will forces, which are sometimes so dormant still, have come full force, I find. That we, on this media, where I initially found great hesitancy to speak pretty intimate thoughts and express my feelings to someone I have never met, someone I pray will never meet in person. But that courage and that determination to bring something to life, to move forward in our community, that has been a very powerful and so liberating way of being. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Jeffrey, would you like to speak?
I'll just say something. I just would like to reiterate what was said earlier about the working through the belly of this beast and actually transforming it. I've never experienced anything quite so powerful as what has been happening since COVID cut everything down, because everything that I've had to do teaching wise and also giving lectures and various things has been in this medium. And I've been amazed at the effect, at the effectiveness of it. I didn't expect it to be so effective. And I'm blown away by the fact that we can actually overcome the distances I've always felt that distance was an illusion anyway, but the fact that we can actually meet from people all around the world in this kind of way is just mind-blowing. I find it absolutely incredible. But the thing that I wanted to share was actually the calendar, the soul verse of this week, because it was raised in another webinar that I've been involved with about the fact that there isn't a mention of death at all in this Easter verse, as it were. It's culminating in, as today, Easter Friday, so-called Good Friday, passion, pain, suffering, etc. And yet there is not a single word in it that mentions death. In fact, it mentions, as Sally put, birth. It's mentioning birth. And yes, one goes through death, one goes through suffering. Every woman here knows this in giving birth. But the birth is the important thing, not the death, not the passion in that sense, although one mustn't ignore it. Nevertheless, it is a bit like the grit in an oyster that enables the pearl to be created. And so when one reads the verse, I mean, you've all probably got it, that it is so strongly, and I will read a Daisy Alden version, it is so strongly dealing with this birth that Sally mentioned as well, and the lines, "It is finished." Those lines just resonated with me the other night so strongly. It is completed. I am born. I am born into the earth. When from the depths of soul the spirit turns towards world existence, and beauty swells from space expanses, then streams from farthest heavens the life force into human bodies, and unites with mighty action the spirit's essence to the life of the human being. Now, where is the death there? There is the pouring of renewal that is expressed here. It's actually already anticipating, of course, the resurrection, which is the whole point of the Easter experience. Otherwise, it'd be pointless if it would end only on the death moment, because it isn't a death, it's a birth. That's just what I wanted to say.
Beautiful, thank you. Well, we've come up to time here, and I would really like to continue our conversation. If you would like to stay on, we can do that. I think Lisa, who I've made the host, is able to do the rooms now, but maybe we could do that later, because I want to honor that we've said we would go to 10:30, and that we still have Ann Dale, who is going to lead us in our thought seed meditation. But I don't have my screen share, and so I can't put up the verse. So do you have that? Do you have the verse?
I do have it. Yes.
Awesome. Very good. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ann.
Okay. And I have a few thoughts I wanted to bring. I just am so warmed by our warmth here. I would love us to, for these few moments while I'm speaking, leading up to the verse and feeling into the being of this poem, to really feel into your own being and whatever it is that you feel. If you have a meditation practice, and I imagine that most of us do, you might even want to close your eyes and feel the presence of all these beautiful souls. We have 57 of us on here, and maybe there are more than one in a room in some cases, and they're anthroposophical people throughout the whole world. So we might even feel their presence as well. And as you feel into whatever is most present in your body right now, you might feel your simple breath. In my case, I'm feeling the shaking heart, this warmth and the magnitude of, oh, I get to speak to this group. This is amazing. And I get to feel the reflection coming back to me. Feeling whatever it is that you feel, and perhaps you begin to feel a vibration, or you begin to feel a buzzing or a tingle or a light, whatever it is that you feel. It doesn't have to be pleasurable, but if it is, then that's what's here. So if you're feeling anything, whatever is real, take that moment for whatever it is, and let's spiritualize the material. Let's look at it for what it is. And feeling that reality meeting every reality in this room, this large room throughout all of the planet. And feeling your own resonance with whatever it is that you feel. We know that Christ is here. So feeling what you feel. And now taking a moment to feel these other stars, these other Christ beings, and let them shine towards you. Let them reflect to you, the ones who've spoken, the ones who had thoughts in their hearts who didn't yet speak, the ones who are in silent contemplation of this week, the ones who are not here on the call. The ones you know, the ones you haven't met yet, the anthroposophical people who don't even yet know that they are part of us yet. And what about extending it beyond? Let's go into all of humanity. We have so many Christians who don't know that they're Christians. There are people doing the work. There's room for everybody here. Let us be as Christ to them as we let them be as Christ to us. And if we have a feeling of how we can feel ourselves right now, that is inspiring and encouraging to the other. And I am moved at the magnitude and the shaking that is happening. So being real with wherever you're at, even if in my case it's shaking. And in that real space of your own I am presence connected with the I am presence of each of us, let us feel the beingness of this poem, all of the energy that has come from it in its creation and its sharing, and what seeds have been planted and are growing. I am a true human being, for the earth is a star. The earth is a star when my soul shines. My soul shines when I think light. Now, this is the way the poem was originally written. Let's feel the beingness that's here. When I think light, my soul shines. When my soul shines, the earth is a star. When the earth is a star, then I am a true human being. It's so beautiful to be a human being with all of you here. Thank you.
Well, you may have shivers, but I'm getting thrill bumps. So thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, friends, for being here and facing the electric death that we can just say, how fascinating too. And yeah, we still get to share. And thank you for that beautiful closing. And all those that didn't get a chance to speak what was in their hearts, we can still feel it. I'm holding that now with you, and just in such gratitude. Sally, beautiful. What a wonderful offering. And I know I see Gloria out there, and thank you for your work, Gloria. You and your husband working the land. This is how you spiritualize the earth, right? Bringing those cosmic energies in to stimulate the Christ that's here, to wake it up within us when we eat that food, that spiritualized food. So I bid you all goodbye. If you want to leave and come back tomorrow, because we have Nancy Poor going to be working with us, and she has actually asked us to have some interesting things available. So I'll let you know now so you can start to prepare. She suggested a cookie sheet full of earth or ashes. So you might want to start thinking about that now. And so yeah, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting presentation. And I hope that you'll join us for that. And I am willing to stay a bit here, and we can try the breakout rooms if you would like to do that.